Hello and welcome to JRock's Babylon. Today our special guest is Steve Gordon, MIA, and we talked a little bit about that last time, Steve. It's a branding thing. I thought, hey, what is that missing in action? You said actually it has to do with the fact that you're from Miami. Now, the interesting thing I learned, Steve, since interviewing you last time is that I believe you were originally from New York, and then you've been in Miami last several. So talk about move from New York to Miami.
Okay, so when I graduated high school, I was playing in the rock bands in New York, actually Brooklyn, obviously where Kiss is from, which
Yeah,
we
yeah.
we can get on a little bit of that in a minute. So I started getting a little tired of, even though I was very young, I was getting a little tired of. I wanted a change, and the reason that I picked Miami is because when I was about, I'd say 16, 17 years old. Me and some friends of mine, in Brooklyn, you have the Jews and the Italians are all hanging
Oh,
out together.
okay,
So I had friends like Sal Capazuca,
okay.
Frankie Calaswano. So names like that. So Frankie's father owned the most popular Italian restaurant in our neighborhood, and his Frankie's father and mother had a vacation house in the Fort Lauderdale, Hallandale area in a little city called Golden Isles.
Okay.
So Frankie says to all of us friends, like about seven or eight of us, "Hey, you guys want to go to my parents' house in Florida Christmas week and hang out?" So I said yes. I told my mom. My mom said, "Yeah, go." So that was the first time I ever had the taste of Miami, and I got to tell you, when I saw Miami and the weather, and I mean, this is December,
Yeah.
so I mean, the weather was like, it
Humidity,
was,
right? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but I mean, it was, but Miami in December is incredible. Like, it's kind of almost like California weather.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm from
So
California, but I've been to New York once or twice, and like you're saying, December, like it's like 17-degree weather outside. Yeah.
yeah, so I basically fell in love with the weather and what Miami looked like, and I decided after I graduated high school uh, that I was going to make a change, and I ran away from home and I went to Miami.
Oh, now let me ask you, because obviously in New York at that time, um, there was a lot of rock clubs, and the rock scene is pretty big in New York, probably just as big as it was in LA at the time. But I'd imagine Miami's got a little more of a diverse musical scene. I mean, with a lot of Cuban bands and different rock bands and everything, a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah, what's interesting too is that so I was playing a lot of the rock clubs, and I got to meet and hang out, and I was friends with Johnny Depp.
Oh, wow.
Because Johnny Depp is actually, I think he was born in Kentucky, and his family moved to Miramar, Florida. So me and Johnny were. He had a band called the Kids, and I was in a band called Wolfgang, and we were playing the same clubs. Johnny would actually stand in front of me, watch me play guitar, and after I was done, he would say to me, "Oh man, I love that guitar sound. Hey, can I want to buy that amplifier you're using right now. Can I buy it?" I used to bring him over my apartment because I had guitars, and he used to hang out with me and look at the guitars I had.
Wow, wow. A lot of guys in Hollywood have that story, and Johnny Depp's an interesting cat because, of course, most of us first came to know Johnny Depp, from being on 21 Jump Street, and then when he launched into his big movie career and stuff. But I understand music was always kind of his first passion, and then the
Yes.
movies just kind of came first.
Yeah. Johnny's band, basically, Johnny's and the whole band, they left Miami, and they went to try to get the big record deal in Hollywood, California. So I remember Johnny telling me, the acting, it basically came as an accident.
Yeah.
He became roommates with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, well, that's amazing, and I don't. You're probably aware of this, of course. He's playing these days in a little side project with Alice Cooper called and Joe Perry, the Hollywood Vampires.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
kind
like
of,
that band. I like that.
yeah, kind of cool that he's kind of getting to live out his rock and roll dream now, after the fact. But hey, I mean, if you're gonna do it, it's great to be on stage with Alice Cooper and Joe Perry and all those other cats. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, Johnny's cool. I mean, Johnny, even after making it and doing Pirates of the Caribbean,
Yeah, yeah.
when he comes here and some of us guys are actually around him, it's like he was the same guy that we knew before he was famous.
Well. Now, Steve, why don't you tell us the story that you were sharing with me about? I guess you could say the Kiss audition, if you will.
Yeah, that's another reason that yeah, that happened. So one of the reasons that I left New York. So after I graduated high school, there's a newspaper in New York called the Village Voice. And if you're a musician or you're an artist or even into any kind of the arts, even cooking and food, you could find whatever you want in the Village Voice, which is, Greenwich Village.
Sure.
So Kiss, before anybody knew who they were in the very beginning, this is 1972. They put an ad out, Kiss, new band, looking for lead guitar. So it gave an address, it gave a phone number. I didn't call the phone. I just decided to. I remember. I think it was a Wednesday. A Wednesday. I got there. Basically, so I lived in Brooklyn. So the auditions were in Manhattan. So I took my guitar, got on the bus, then got on two trains, got off in Manhattan. I went into a gigantic office building. I mean, this is Manhattan,
Sure.
skyscrapers.
Sure.
And for what I remember, it was around the 13th, 14th, 15th floor. I went to the room number. I walk in, and there's a receptionist, a lady, and it was just me and her. And I said, "I'm here for the Kiss auditions." And she said her exact words to me were, "Oh, I'm sorry, they ended last night." And I looked at her and I said, "They ended last night. Did they? I mean, so no more." And she goes, "No, yeah, they ended last night." And I said, "Well, the ad is still in the paper." She goes, "Yeah, well, the ad will probably finish on Sunday." And I
Yeah. Yeah.
remember this was like a Wednesday or a Thursday.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so, so I tell friends of mine, I mean, if I would have been a day or two earlier, I might have been the guitar player in Kiss.
Who knows?
So,
For years, yeah, we heard the story. That it was between Ace Frehley and Bob Kulick.
well, Ace was definitely the first guy.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, in bands, sometimes they have little fights and people
Yeah.
leave or,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, Kiss went through a few lead guitar players by now. I mean, I think it's
Oh,
three or
sure,
four.
sure. I mean, it's total like of 10 members that have been in the band throughout the year, over the 50-year career. Now, let me ask you, Steve, if you had made it to the audition, and you'd even gone just an audition, I mean, I mean, it's a cool story to begin with, no matter what. But I guess what I'm asking is, let's say you'd audition and, they made you an offer to join the band. Because I'm sure when you went down to audition, you had no idea anything about the makeup or the look or anything. So
I had
if
no idea.
if you would have got that offer and then you learn about the makeup, would you have been into doing that?
Yeah, I would have done it. I probably would have felt a little strange with the makeup thing, but I also knew that I think in the beginning they had a manager who was Bill Alcoin,
Oh, sure.
who,
Yeah.
who managed Billy Idol also after he managed Kiss. I met Bill because Bill moved to Miami,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I think that I would have went with the makeup thing and all that because they seemed like they knew exactly what they wanted to do, and nobody's done it. I mean, I think they were innovative.
Yeah. I
And
mean, at the time, you got to remember, probably the most famous kind of made up person would be, Alice Cooper. And that was just one guy in the band. And then, also maybe they had the New York Dolls. They were a little more glammed out. But Kiss was very unique because you don't have a band where four or five guys were dolled up like that.
yeah, I would have done it. And my personality, even now and when I was young, I don't give anybody a hard time. Yeah, this is what we're doing? All right, let's go. All right, showtime. All right, let's put the stuff on in the show. All right, take the stuff off. All right, go home. See you guys whenever we meet next.
Now, were you at all an Ace Frehley fan, or did you ever have encounters with him?
No, I never met him. I wasn't a gigantic fan of Kiss. I was more into then I was into Led Zeppelin and Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, Cream, Eric Clapton. That was probably my three number ones as far as my top influences.
You said
Clapton,
Clapton.
Jeff Beck, Jimi Hendrix, and also Frank Zappa.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
I thought Frank Zappa was a great guitar player also, even though he wasn't really a hard rock player.
Yeah,
I mean, the music he invented was totally
he
like
had a quirkiness to what he did, and then
yeah, and
if it
funny.
wasn't for, yeah, yeah, he was funny. That's what I heard a lot of people say. They would comment more on his. A lot of people would more on his, not just his quirky music, but his great sense of humor. People would always talk about that. And if we didn't have Frank Zappa, the truth of the matter is we wouldn't have like Steve Vai, who he played with Zappa before he was even
Right.
with
At a
Rock.
young age, Steve
Yeah,
Vai was
yeah, like
yeah.
19 years old. And then also, you may or may not know this, but it was actually Frank Zappa that signed Alice Cooper to his first record deal.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah, in fact, I guess Alice went to audition for the label or something, and he showed up like at 6 a.m. or something on Frank's
6
porch.
a.m.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're eager. Yeah,
You're a little early.
yeah, you're a little early. Now, I see some other interviews that you've done recently, and one of them that they were talking about the fact that you've done a lot of session work. I heard you talking to a guy about that you played with Frank Sinatra and Bon Jovi. Can you talk about any of those experiences?
Well, which guy do you want to know about?
Well, I guess both. I mean, just Bon Jovi and like Bon Jovi,
All right,
Frank Sinatra.
all
Yeah.
right. The Bon Jovi session came about at the last second. So what happened there was, so you know who Doc McGee is, right?
Oh,
Doc
sure. Yeah.
McGee.
Man's Kiss, Bon Jovi, Molly Cruz, Scorpions. Yeah.
Right, right. So Doc McGee actually also was living in Miami at the time that I was here. So I was really great friends with this producer Barry Mraz, and Barry was the producer of the first two Styx albums
Okay.
and the first two or three Ohio Players albums, and Benny Mardones, the song "Into the Night."
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
If I could fly, I'd pick you up. And the New York Dolls, Pat Travers.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
So I became great friends with Barry, and Barry would get me to do a lot of recording sessions on other bands that he was producing, and when he would do it in Miami. So I get a call from Barry, and Barry says to me, uh, "Doc McGee just called me, and he told me to call you." And I go, "What's up?" He goes, "I got a recording session for you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. North Miami. The studio's International Sound. Bring a Marshall amplifier and bring a guitar that has humbucking pickups, maybe a Les Paul or a Strat that has a humbucker." And I go, "What am I playing on?" He goes, "I can't tell you."
Okay.
And I says, "Well, I'll know tomorrow." He goes, "Obviously."
Yeah.
So I get there about an hour early. I set my stuff up. Doc's not there. Barry is there, and I sit down after I set up my stuff, and they mic everything. And there's Barry and two assistant engineers. One guy's name is, I think it was Mike Strict. So I said, "What am I playing on?" Because you're playing on a Bon Jovi record.
Wow.
And I look at him and I go, "Why? Richie Sambora is great."
Yeah.
He goes, "Yes, Richie is great." What happened was they did Farm Aid in Wisconsin, and John Bon Jovi wrote a song called "Heart of America," especially for Farm Aid. So they went to Wisconsin to perform it in front of like 40 or 50,000 people. And the plan was the day after in Wisconsin, they were going into a major recording facility, and I was met them there, and
Uh,
I was going to engineer the session and mix it after it was done. So, and what happened was we don't know why, but Richie was either trashed,
okay. Okay. I guess. Yeah.
tired, bored, or something. Like he didn't really say, but he goes, "Doc wants the guitar parts done again because uh, everybody is at this moment is not happy with them, and you're the guy to immediately redo them and fix them.
Oh
So
wow.
I said, all right, roll the tape.
Yeah.
So after about 2.5 hours, I said, do you want me to copy exactly? He goes, no, you don't have to copy exactly, but make it like if you were Richie and you were playing, you were in Bon Jovi.
Yeah, yeah.
That's your
So it was just you and the producer. Nobody else from the band was there, huh?
no one from the band. It was just me and Barry Morez.
Eh,
So I finished the session, and Barry goes, I love it. We're gonna overnight it to Doc, and let's see what Doc says. So Doc approved. I got paid really well.
wow.
But what I do remember, Barry said to me, the one thing you do have to know is your name isn't going on the record. It can't. Are you okay with that? And I go, I'm okay with that.
Oh
And
wow.
that's what we call ghosting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, probably one guy that's really famous. There's a lot of famous session musicians, but one that comes to mind is Bob Kulick, of course, who I said he played on many. He played many of the guitar solos on some of the studio albums by Kiss. Believe it or not, when Ace didn't show up, like to do a recording session or something,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
that's actually Bruce Kulick's older brother. He played with Alice Cooper, but he played. He did a lot of session work. So people, that's another way people used to become. Just be able to work in the music business is necessarily if you maybe couldn't get in a band, but you'd go and you do these recording sessions and you get a chance to earn some money and work with people.
Right. Well, you do know the very first Bon Jovi hit Runaway is Tim Pierce, the guitar player, Tim Pierce, the studio player. It's not Richie.
Yeah,
And everybody knows that now. Tim
yeah,
Pierce was the guitar player on She's a Little Runaway.
yeah. Even Bon Jovi. If you go back to the original days of the Five Guys from Jersey, like you said, the first album's pretty much John Bon Jovi, a bunch of John Bon Jovi demos, and that's the time they hired the band, from what I understand. Kind of, even the bass player Alec Josh Such, he's since passed away, but he was kind of he was a look. He had a great look. They thought so. He would play live with the band, and then every so often they'd have like Hugh McDonald come in and play on some bass tracks. But he was kind of the face, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I did a lot of ghosting. I mean, that's how I did Frank Sinatra. I did Phil Collins. I did Rod Stewart. I did a lot of most of the sessions that I played on in the 80s, there was no singer in the room.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. And again, that was kind of a new thing back then because it's become a modern thing where, oh yeah, I just did a session. I played on the next Sinatra song or whatever, but
Right, but I
he
wouldn't
wasn't
know
in the
that I
room
was
with
on.
me. But yeah, I'll be on the yeah.
But this is interesting. I didn't know that I was on these records until I started collecting royalties for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
That's
I mean, all of the producers and executives said, even though your name's not going on the record, you're still going to get, your royalties that you're due.
like, oh, I
And they
didn't know
and,
that.
and every one of them kept their word. Like I'm on four Phil Collins singles. I'm on like two Rod Stewart songs. A lot
The
of
cool thing about that too, Steve, is it allows you to spread out and be a little more diverse of a musician than just doing nothing but hard rock and metal.
yeah. I mean, I think I'm good at coming up with parts.
Yeah, yeah,
The thing about a session guitar player, which is a must, is you got. I mean, because studio time is not cheap.
yeah, yeah. Especially
Back in
back then. Yeah,
back in
yeah.
the 80s, I think back in the 80s, I mean, in Miami, the average hourly rate for a studio and in Miami was probably at least 125 an hour. In New York, it had to be about 185 an hour, and in LA, it
Yeah.
was probably 250 an hour. And I was getting flown at different in different months and different days, actually just days before like a release was going to come out, and the artwork is done and the credits were all written down, and I already know my name's not going on, and some executive would call me and go, we got you a hotel for tomorrow. You arrive at 10 o'clock in the morning, then take a taxi to this studio at this address, and you're going to do four songs. You don't have to hear them, just come up, do your thing. And then, next week they'd fly me, to New York. I'd fly to LA. I do three studios in Miami. I do one studio in Chicago. This went on for a lot of years.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny. Like Miami for many years was like a music hotspot. I mean, I of course know that the Bee Gees, believe it or not, they have their studio down there, and I heard Ronnie Dio's wife doing an interview recently, and she's talking about the fact when they recorded the Black Sabbath album Heaven and Hell that it was actually recorded at the Bee Gees studio in Florida.
Oh no, I can believe that. They had great gear. I actually now that you mentioned the Bee Gees, so you remember the song "Tragedy"?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Well, so I had some great engineer friends there, and so I hung out at Criteria a lot because I did a lot of sessions. So one day I walked in and um, the one of the producers, Carl Richardson, was a great friend of mine. Carl actually got me to play for Rob Thomas, but Carl and Albie Gluten were mixing. They were the producers of the Bee Gees. So Carl says, "Hey, come in, hang out with us." So
Wow.
I sat next to Barry Gibb
Yeah.
when they were mixed the song "Tragedy."
Oh, that's cool. You have all these great, and so I imagine doing all these um, session work. That's probably what led you to become a producer yourself and produce other people, right?
Yeah, a lot of it was accidental. Like, another reason that how I, got to learn how to mix and work recording gear was because there was a time where I was recording my own songs, and so I had to hire a studio and
Yeah,
book time
yeah,
and pay for it myself out of my gig money. And
sure.
then it got to a point where, like, imagine a studio owner, like I call, I'd like to book the studio in the next 2 days for 5 hours. I'd like to start at 12 in the afternoon, and they'd say to you, "Oh, Steve, I don't have time for another 3 weeks."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, so what does somebody like me do? You buy your own gear,
yeah.
you learn how to use it, and whatever happens, happens. And I mean, so I was forced into basically, even though I loved it,
Yeah.
learning how to do all this myself. And what I learned how to, what's important is when you're buying gear to record, buy the best gear that you can buy because the gear makes a difference.
That's your investment, right? And now you got your own home studio, right?
Yes, I have my own home studio, and
That's
and
great.
and when I mix for major artists here, like I mean, I mixed Morgan Wallen, I mixed Prince,
Wow.
Howard Hewitt, Regina Bell. I mean, a lot of icon acts. Uh, I buy the best gear that I can, and all the mastering engineers they always call me and go, "What studio did you mix this in?" And I go, "Why?" And they go, "It because it's got that $1 million sound like you did it on like a on an SSL or an
Yeah.
E console that cost a $500,000."
Wow.
I go, "No, I do it in one bedroom in my house, and I have great gear."
Now,
And they go,
Steve,
"Wow!" They go,
yeah,
"Wow!" That
yeah. As you were sharing me, Steve, before we went on air here, the Christmas holiday, or we'll be rocking in the new year, as they say, because you're about ready to drop your album. So let's talk about that.
yes, the album will be ready. I'm guessing how it's going now. The album will be mixed and done. I think I'll be done probably by the third week of December. Well, here, I plan on it coming out in December, but I realistically think that it's going to be about the second week of January. And my
Makes
radio
sense.
and my radio team says, that's fine because all the music people in America, December is like a vacation month.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's everything kind of wraps up at that time of year and getting ready to kick off a new year and whatever. Especially in the music business, that's how it usually
Yeah.
works. Now we've gotten three kind of singles from you so far, Steve. So how many songs are on the album?
Okay, so we have probably 4 or 5 instrumentals, a definite four. It might be
Okay.
5. So you've got Pharaoh Lives.
Yeah.
You've got there's another one called Anne Boleyn 1536.
Okay.
There's another one called Hampton Court. And there's another one that I haven't titled yet because I'm about to finish that. Yeah, so I think
Okay.
there's a definite 4. Song wise, I have, some, I would say they're famous singers from bands that you know.
Yeah, we're not going to drop that. The way people
Yeah,
let people be
I'm
surprised.
going to save that. But there's about four or five famous singers that you everybody knows who they are, and I'm very excited about who I got. And and I love the songs that I did with them, and they came out better than I even thought they were going to come out. You know, when someone's going to sing a song you wrote,
Yeah.
and because you hope to like maybe produce the singer yourself, but what I notice is all of these singers have their own setups in their house, and they do the vocals by themselves in their house.
Wow. Wow. That
Like
is impressive.
they have equipment like me.
Yeah, and you got to give them that trust and that faith that they know what you're doing. If you think about it, you speak to us through your guitar. That's your voice. These
Okay,
guys, they do what they do vocally, and you got to trust that they're gonna sing your song masterfully. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah. And so let me ask you: have you given any thought to doing? When you're busy producing, I know do all the stuff in your studio. Have you given any thought to doing any live shows? And if you do, like, um, how would you work that out? Like, since you have different singers, would you just get like one guy to sing?
I am going to do live shows. I think the plan is from all of the people on my team, my radio team, my social media team, Michael, my PR, Michael and Adrenaline. Everyone seems to think, the best time for me to do live shows is probably after the full album comes out.
Sure.
But the album is out at least 4 to 6 months because of the people who I got on there. It's going to help my elevation to like
Sure. I mean, it's amazing how elevated you become. It was just the three singles,
it's only 6 months now.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and each one is very different, but it kicks ass. Like I still love the instrumental one, Pharaohs. That's one of my favorite things you do.
Oh, thank you. I love that
And
too.
like I love the fact that you were telling me last time that I really didn't know what I was going to call it, but it kind of had that kind of Egyptian feel.
Yeah,
Um, and
exactly.
that kind of it harkens me back to like 1985 Iron Maiden put out this album Power Slave, and it was like centered around Egypt and stuff. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of a real metal vibe thing. You got great singers, like you said, um, and I think that's going to give an album a nice balance. I mean, I think if we had like a Steve Gordon shred fest full of an album, that would be great too. But this is much more of a you get a little bit of everything. Great
Yes.
guitar music, great, and then great vocal tracks
Yes, and I'm going to mix them up. Like I'm not going to put the instrumentals all in a row.
together. Yeah, yeah,
Like I'm going to put an instrumental, a song, an instrumental, a song with vocals, an instrumental, a song with vocals, an
yeah.
yeah.
Because like,
I mean, like, if I did a vinyl record,
uh,
I would probably split it up. I
oh
think
yeah, yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
yeah, that
because
might
like
work.
even like great instrumental guys like Satriani and Vai, I love what they do. I can't think of a bad thing album they've ever put out, but like that's the problem with a lot of those instrumental albums that they were putting out like in the '80s. As great as they were, a lot of the stuff like you'd have an album of 10 tracks that all sounded the same. So it's hard enough to get the listener's attention when you have an album all of instrumental music. Some guys are able to do it, some can, and then you get a guy like Zach Wild. He's kind of a triple threat. He can play guitar, he can sing, he can play the piano.
Yes, I got to hang out with Zach when he did his album Book of Shadows in North Miami.
Oh, that's one of my favorite albums he does, acoustic stuff.
Yes,
He's
yeah,
great, the heavy stuff, but he's kind of all over the place. I remember when he first joined Ozzy's band, he's like 19-year-old, looked like this New Jersey guy, this guy from New Jersey,
like a
pretty,
surfer.
yeah, pretty surfer guy. And now he looks what he does. He's all black labeled out, but he's got the talent, so whatever.
Yeah, Zach's a monster.
And now he's doing the Pantera thing. I think if anybody has a right to kind of fill in for Dime, he's the perfect guy to do that.
Yeah, and I think they knew each other very well.
Yeah, they were. In fact, he wrote a track in this river off one of his Black Label. It's kind of a tribute to Dime, and check out the video. It's obvious that what it's about. He's got like clips of him in the video, like, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, and so that's great, Steve, to hear that you're doing all this. Do you have a title for the album or?
Uh, I have actually two titles, and I've actually kind of been dabbling in making a few album covers.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I don't know if I want to say what the
Reveal
name
that. Yeah.
might
Okay.
be, but it's between two names. The album covers that I'm coming up with are pretty interesting. I like them.
Keep them
I
guessing.
haven't
Yeah.
decided on a final one yet, but I'm close.
Keep them guessing. Here's a thought put in your head, Steve. You want to be really cool. You want to make it like a collector's edition type thing. If you're designing like different covers, anyways, maybe you could have like alternate covers.
Oh, like two covers.
Yeah, like hey, you have your choice. Yeah, you get this one or this
Yeah, so and then when they could like be sold for like, oh, you can,
limited run.
if you got
Limited
this
run.
copy, you can
Yeah,
make $10,000.
you'd be amazed though. That's what you laugh, but I actually know people that
Beatles.
are into music and they like, oh, I'm going to get the red vinyl. I'm going to get the orange vinyl. I'm going to get everything they put out there.
Yeah, yeah. I think that with like some Beatles covers, they have some collector's items.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Steven, talking a little bit about it's great getting to know you a little more. It's funny how things kind of, work in a circle, so to speak. You told us at the top interview a story about almost getting to audition for Kiss, and then this just popped in my head. And this should impress people. Like it's interesting that you once maybe kind of got a chance to kind of audition for Kiss, the Village Voice thing, the ad, and your publicist Michael Brandville, who's given me a lot of great interviews over the years. He at one time was Kiss's and Gene Simmons' PR person. In fact, he got me an interview once to promote Gene Simmons' soda company. And when the interview was originally set up, I thought it was just going to be these two guys that were working with Gene to get the company going. And lo and behold, Gene shows up on the interview. I wasn't even expecting him. and Michael
Oh,
told me, yeah, actually, Jason, I didn't know he was going to be part of the interview. Nobody told me, but it just kind of worked out that way.
I bet you were happy.
Yeah, I mean, I really was because I'm such a huge Kiss fan myself. In fact, I just got the box set they came out with, and now they're coming out with another one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So great talking to Steve. And of course, I guess I'll be talking to you again in the new year because once that album comes out, I'm going to get a copy myself, and we're going to help you do everything we can to promote the hell out of it.
Oh, thank you
Talk
much.
about.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, and the interview we just did, Steve, is going to go up later tonight. You want to say anything else to the fans before we wrap it up for tonight?
No, I want to say hi to everybody out there, and I'll be seeing you soon. You'll be hearing from me. Look out for my album coming out probably in the beginning of January. It's going to be very exciting, and you're going to hear a few singers that you know who they are, but I'm not going to tell you who they are right now. But some of these guys are the best there is in the hard rock metal world.
They're still out there, and I can just attest that they're still out there doing what they do.
Yes, they are.
and and
And they're all very nice guys.
that's what's really important because you could have the greatest singer singing your track, and then he turns out to be a real a-hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was very surprised. Like everybody that is singing on my album, they're all like, I feel like I've known all these guys since I've been a teenager. Like when we talk
Yeah.
on the phone, like all of these guys that I have on my record, we've talked for no less than 45 minutes
Yeah,
to an
and,
hour.
and Steve, I gotta say in closing before we do wrap it up that this is my second time interviewing you, and I enjoyed chatting with you just as much as the first time. And here's the funny thing, um, you're not somebody who I've ever met in person, but in doing the two interviews, I kind of feel like I know you. Like you're somebody, you're kind of easy that way to talk to, if you know what I mean. And I kind of get the feeling that we just getting the story out because what's great is you've worked hard all these years to get to this point, and you're finally getting what you deserve.
Well, I never planned on any of this. Remember, in the
That's what I'm
first
saying. Kind
interview,
of just accidentally happens.
I did this all for fun, and it just happened.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I kind of
I
have a
didn't.
similar story. Like started doing these interviews just for fun,
Yeah, no,
and
well, none of what I'm doing was ever planned.
yeah, yeah,
When I first put Pharaoh Lives out, I did it for fun.
yeah. And because that's the truth of the matter. When you're really trying to trying to do something, you're working too hard, and you're not doing it for the fun, then that's when it doesn't happen.
Probably when you're doing it for fun, you're the most relaxed and there's no pressure.
Yeah. Well, good luck, my friend, and I'll be talking to you in January. Okay.
Thank you, Jay.
Anytime. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.